Welcome to Forensic Friday.
where we examine the intersection of true crime, psychology, and the heart of being human in the middle of it all.
Hi, forensic friends.
Hi.
So we were already talking.
I know. I was going to say, I was just telling Janine about when I was in 8th grade. And we were talking about mean girls, and I was always picked on. Can you believe that? I was always picked on.
Senses me. No, I can't picture it, number one. Number two, I would lose my stuffing if someone was mean to you. That would make me crazy.
Yeah, no, I was picked on often.
Mhm.
But I remember in 8th grade, so like 6 and 7, there was just like this whole thing. And like my friends sucked. They're great now, but they sucked back then.
And it was a 3-girl friendship, right?
No, it was a group.
Was this
It was a group.
after? Oh,
Yeah. I mean, I had those friends and it was a 3 group. Like my closest, there was 3 or 4 of us. 4 of us, but like in the same school. But then it was like a big group of girls.
oh, groups of girls
So
can be
there was like,
unmanageable.
oh, it was terrible. But I was picked on all the time. And I was like, I'm over this. And I also knew I was going to move, but no one else knew I was moving.
Oh, so you got a little freedom.
Uh-huh.
You're like, I'm not
So I
going
was
to
like,
be here.
well,
I could do some damage.
no, for real. So I went to 8th grade, and in 7th grade, this girl, and I won't name her, but she like ran all the girls in my grade.
We call
So
her
in 8th grade,
Little B.
little B. So in 8th grade, I went to all those girls besides her, and I said, because she would to all of us, but I was like mostly picked on, but she would, at some point, someone was out. You know what I mean?
Yes, always.
And so I went to all the other girls and I said, so you know how this happens all the time, and it happened all the time last year. And they're like, yeah. And I like said, I can't remember exactly what I said, but something along the lines of like, well, and none of us deserve to be treated that way, like in 8th grade language, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And then I got every girl to turn on her, every single 8th grade girl. And she came to me day 2 of school and was like crying. And she was like, why are you doing this? Blah, blah, blah. And I looked and you did this to every single one of us all of last year. I will tell the girls to stop, but do not do this year. Do not treat anybody poorly. And she didn't.
Look at you getting all after school special. It's like, meh.
I know. That's the Leo in me. It's like you can be mean up to a certain point, and then I'm like, you know what? Fuck you. Sorry, Tina.
Yeah, no, yeah, that is you. Nat and I were talking earlier. I don't really see it until it's right in front of me when it pertains to me. If somebody looks at somebody I love wrong, I'm on it. But I really struggle when it's me. And I think it's because I just really try to assume people want the best. And I haven't been particularly bullied. I haven't bullied people either. I just stayed out of it. But I was telling Nat before we hopped on about the little trios of girls. There's these 3 girls in Mac's class, and it's the worst. It's the worst.
I'm nervous. So Grace is, out of all cousins. I mean, Rory's so much older, so I don't think I'm not equating her in this because she's so much older.
Yeah.
But there's three littles.
I don't think the twins count. I think they're kind of like half of a 1 or like 7, So like
Arliss would say they're 7.
They're 7, yeah. And you and Arliss are not mean girlies at all. So I really think they're gonna be like, I think it's gonna be like Gray and her Bash sister, twin buddies. That's what I think it's gonna be like.
So.
And then Rylan who's like bebopping around doing boy things.
Rylan's gonna be like, I don't want to play with dolls anymore.
I'm gonna need to send some toys over there for Rylan. We got good stuff.
Yes.
We got real.
He's gonna need some boy toys at my house.
My brother and sister-in-law are out with traveling with kiddo, and they've got Auntie Bean toys, so it's very fun.
Good.
He's so cute. He's such a good baby. He's such a good baby. So we got to jump in because this is a case. And
Oh boy. I know it's super long. You just sent it to me.
I know. Now, one really great thing is we are doing the opposite of Mean Girl things tomorrow night because it's International Women's Day. And we're having dinner with the
Bunch
chef
of women.
kiss top shelf women tomorrow night. And
Mhm.
Tina's coming.
Tina.
I just have to figure out what I'm wearing. So we'll figure it out. I think I know.
I know. I have no idea.
We're getting dolled up. You know, Neil, it'll be fancy.
I'm going to bring, I don't know if I want to tell you this.
Why? You're going to bring stuff in case you stay the night?
Potentially.
You know how excited this makes me.
I know, that's why I didn't want to tell you, but I don't, because it's like, I'm going to be super honest. It's like a 40% chance I do that.
I get it. I won't be mad.
Okay.
I get it.
I'm just not ready.
But if we have $100 minimum, you might want some drinks. I don't know. Just saying. And we have MTT Monday morning.
No, I know.
At 9. And daylight savings. I know.
Daylight savings is tomorrow.
No, I know it's tonight. But
right.
I'll still be tired for a whole week.
I actually feel like I get more energy when we spring forward, even though we an hour.
I do love light at night.
Yeah.
With our work schedules, that helps a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
You ready?
Introduce me to the case.
I was like, oh, this is Natalie Halcomb, my bestie co-host.
Okay, guys, I'm new here.
Hey, girl, hey.
Hey, girl, hey, I'm new. Are you going to introduce me?
Anytime we have new people in the group, I'm the worst introducer. I just like people just join, and I'm like, 20 minutes later, I realize no one knows who they are.
I'm like, we have new people. We need to go around and say names.
Okay. Guess so.
Anyway, that was hilarious. Okay.
Okay. So you gotta catch the vibe on this one. I have 1 million questions for you and a couple of theories. So picture kind of a small town, West Virginia, in the summer, a girl who really never misses work, doesn't show up for her shift.
Okay.
And so her father goes to her room, tries to go in to see where she is and, get her up because she's supposed to get up and go to work and whatever. Right. And the door's locked.
Weird.
So he uses a hanger, gets his way into her room, pops the lock, and she's not in there. And her bedroom window's open, and there's a stool outside of her window. So when you hear a teenage girl goes missing in the middle of the night, where does your brain go?
Elizabeth Smart.
Like maybe a kidnapping or an abduction.
Or snuck out.
Maybe snuck out, right? The bench makes it look like somebody that like she snuck out. Right? It doesn't make me feel initially super concerned, especially because while she was very responsible, she also hung out with her friends and, she wasn't like a super goody-goody. So let me give you some more background on her. So her name is Skylar Neese. That's who we're talking about. She was a sophomore at University High School in West Virginia. She was a 4.0 student. She worked part-time at Wendy's. That was the job she didn't show up for. People described her as bubbly, loyal, pretty well liked among her classmates. She wanted to be a defense attorney. And her father said at one point, like, she's my whole world. Like, he spoiled her rotten. Now, spoiled her rotten is relative. So this case today comes from the new documentary on Hulu about With Friends Like These. That's the name of it, With Friends Like These. And it's about this case, but here's the thing. They're in a pretty depressed area economically. So even when he's saying he spoiled his daughter, one of the things that hits me is this is part of the country that was hit really, really hard with the opioid epidemic. And part of that is it was a big coal town. The coal mines started going away. And so from 2008, 2009, like when the economy did that big contraction, that really affected this part of the country. And you can
Where is it?
it's in West Virginia. They were in Blacksville for a while, but the town itself, I forget the name of it.
Star City, West Virginia.
Okay, Star City, West Virginia. And then some of it takes place in Blacksville.
That was the hometown, her hometown.
Her hometown,
And
yeah.
then the location of what you're getting into was identified as Wayne Township, Greentown, Pennsylvania.
Yes, but we don't get there for a while.
Okay, cool.
So West Virginia, and it's rural. It's like rural, and it's not like a one stoplight town, but it's not a big town. So at the center of her life, so Skylar had been there really, I believe her whole life or most of her life. At the center of her life is her bestie, Shelia Eddy, who had been her best friend since she was 8. And she's like practically a second daughter in the Neese home. She's there all the time. And then later on, Rachel Shoaf came into town, joined the school, went to the high school, and those 3 became a trio. And so they were really, really tight for a couple years. And then cracks started kind of forming in the friendship. So on July 4th, she's posting things like, "I'm sick of being at fucking home. Thanks, friends," in quotes. "Love hanging out with you all too." The day before she was killed, she posted on Twitter, "You doing shit like that is why I can never completely trust you." So she's posting, and she's not even saying who these are for. We don't really know if it's parents, other kids, but she's tweeting a lot. And what started to happen when the cracks started forming in the friendship is all 3 of these girls are just posting. They're vague booking, essentially. They're just posting like, "Oh, I wish I could count on my friends," kind of stuff. So it's like
stupid crap. Yeah.
yes, a little bit of tagging each other when things were real bad. But there's cracks in the friendship, right? So on July 6th, after Dave Neese got home and realized that, there's this bench outside, the window's open, he looks around her room and realizes she didn't take her contact lens case. She left her phone charger. It really looks like she planned to come home. It doesn't look like she had taken a bag to, go be somewhere for a while.
Right.
So he calls Shelia, her best friend in the world, who he knows super well. Shelia first says that she's talked to Skylar on the phone around midnight, but hadn't seen her. Minutes later, she calls back and goes, okay. We went joyriding, but then we came and dropped, we being her and Rachel, dropped Skylar back off at the corner, not right in front of the apartment, but at the corner so the headlights wouldn't wake up her parents at like midnight, 12:30. That's what they say. By midnight, they had her home. So everybody's starting to worry. Shelia, if anybody, would know where she was. And so the nieces, the Eddys, which would be Shelia and her mom, and then Dave and his wife, right? Her mom and dad, come to look at surveillance footage with the landlord. And they're reviewing tape. They're rewinding, they're playing, and they realize that they see Skylar get in a car at 12:31 in the morning. And it looked like it could have been an SUV, maybe a sedan. Nobody can really tell what car it was, but she clearly leaves of her own free will. Okay. So they continue to investigate, and everyone's devastated. Small town, everybody's super sad. And they kind of are hitting all of these dead ends for days, and days turn into weeks, and they're just not finding anybody. So all of a sudden, tips start pouring in. probably like, I don't know, a week to 10 days in, there was a report that somebody who looked just like Skylar was on the beach in North Carolina with two other girls, and one had red hair that looked like Rachel Shoaf.
Interesting.
So the investigators tracked down the church camp where Rachel was staying, but the lead was wrong. She hadn't been at the beach. She was just at her church camp and people had seen her there, but there was this weird lead,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So then state investigators come in, and West Virginia State Police troopers had been investigating a series of bank robberies in the Blacksville area about 1 month before Skylar disappeared. There was another one 10 days after she disappeared. They learned that the younger brother of one of their robbery suspects had been romantically involved with Sheila and also knew Skylar.
Interesting.
And his name was Dylan Conway. Investigators found messages between Sheila and the brothers, Dylan and Derek Conway, suggesting the group may have been trying to score drugs the night Skylar disappeared. Derek Conway was a known drug dealer and delinquent. All three girls knew him and partied with him. Okay, so that's a known thing.
Okay.
Sheila quietly starts updating her story. So she says after they stopped the car when they went joyriding, because her whole story is we went joyriding and then I dropped her back at home, right? That Skylar wanted to go see the Conway brothers to smoke and hang out, but that Sheila and Rachel didn't want to. Skylar insisted on going alone, walked off into the night, and they never saw her again. So they interviewed Dylan Conway as a person of interest, and he remains one from that point forward. And when they went into Dylan and Derek's place and investigated, they had hung out, and there were pictures and videos of these young girls in kind of compromising positions with these boys. And Derek Conway was more their age, but Dylan was a little bit older.
Okay.
And not a good dude. And it had a rap sheet. He had a rap sheet too.
Shoot.
One of the things that they were investigating, the federal grand jury was investigating, was drug traffic in that area and the bank robberies. So one of their theories pretty early on was that something happened. Maybe she OD'd, maybe something happened and they just couldn't say anything without being hurt themselves. So then they're thinking maybe Sheila and Rachel are scared because these are scary boys, particularly the older one. How do you think, Nat, when we talk about like all these different pieces coming together, they're looking at bank robberies and drug networks and two teenage girls and their stories and all the things. How do investigators manage the cognitive load of looking at all of those pieces without focusing on one?
How do they do that?
Yeah. I mean, how do you think they do that? Because that would be hard to do.
It would be.
Our
I
brains
think
are wired to zero in. That's what we like to do.
Yeah. And they do sometimes, which is when sometimes cases go awry.
Yeah, sometimes they'll get it wrong.
But I would have to guess that they don't want to get it wrong. And so trying to like stay as neutral as possible until there's something that's like blatantly obvious or just like one thing that's a little off and they're like, that doesn't feel great or whatever. I think, yeah, you would hope that they can actually remain more neutral so that they don't get it wrong as often. I shouldn't say as often. They don't get it wrong often, but you never want to get it wrong,
Yes, absolutely. So as they go along and they're not really zeroing in super well, they bring in the FBI. And the FBI is like, come on, y'all, as they always do, right? But they get involved and they start looking at surveillance footage at a gas station that had higher resolution cameras. And they spot a car matching Sheila Eddy's vehicle passing through around midnight, heading toward Blacksville. The footage confirmed that it was the same car that had picked Skylar up. It was not an SUV, it was Sheila's Camry.
Huh.
After being caught in a lie about the timeline, Sheila admitted the car was hers. And that's really when things start to shift because now they know the girls lied, but they didn't know what they're hiding or why they're hiding it. And the community is super, super split. Some people think that Sheila and Rachel were maybe in a terrible position. Others think the girls were maybe involved in a more nefarious way. Meanwhile, Sheila keeps posting on Twitter, as does Rachel, about their grief over their missing friend. So when you think about that, knowing that they lied, right? At least Sheila lied about the car being hers. Is there a reason besides guilt that would cause somebody to lie about something like that? What can
If
you
they're
think
trying to
of?
help someone else out, if they're trying to help out someone that they think might be guilty, maybe they're just nervous, you know?
I get the sense they were pushing the envelope a lot, but not criminals, you know?
No. Yeah.
But it is kind of interesting that there was this almost memorial type sense starting to happen and they're participating in it. But she would know that that was her car at 12:30. So the fact that she maintained that is just kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So then in March of 2013, so remember she disappeared in July. So this is, 8-9 months later, they find Skylar's body.
We'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by Southeast Counseling Center. Southeast Counseling Center is a 501c3 nonprofit mental health provider right here in Parker, Colorado, conveniently located just off major highways. We serve the whole family, from play therapy for kids to couples and family therapy, trauma treatment, psychological testing, and specialized groups. Access matters. That's why Southeast Counseling Center accepts Medicaid, Tri-West, and victim compensation, and also offers a community subsidy program to help people who fall in the gap between Medicaid and traditional insurance coverage. And because we're a nonprofit, every dollar donated by the community goes directly towards providing treatment services for people who need help. Prefer to meet at home? Telehealth is available statewide so anyone in Colorado can access our services. To get started, call 720-842-5553 or fill out our secure web inquiry form at secounseling.org. Southeast Counseling Center, care that is accessible, compassionate, and rooted in the community.
And I'm going to go back to some things involved in that, but they find the body. Both girls start posting. They're devastated. They're talking about, rest in peace. We hope you find justice, all of this stuff. But here's the really scary part of that. Rachel Shoaf had already confessed in January. She told investigators everything. She's the one who led them to the body. She knew Skylar was dead because she helped kill her. And she still posted when the remains were identified. Your face. I know. Sheila.
That's so weird.
Oh, hold on to your butt. Sheila, meanwhile, had already been taunting the investigation on social media for months, including a post that read, "We really did go on 3," which I'll explain what that means later.
Yeah, I have no idea.
So Rachel confessed, which I'm going to give you some details about that. In that moment, I want you to kind of remember this kind of like tone that they had when the body was found, because it stands in stark contrast to what I'm going to share next.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So shortly after Christmas in 2012, so we're talking like January 2nd, I think, or 3rd, Rachel's
Okay.
mother called 911 because her daughter wouldn't stop screaming. And you can hear it. They play the 911 call and it's like, "Ah!" in the background. It's like,
What?
it's scary. It's like
Okay.
loud and scary. Rachel was hospitalized for 5 days. When she was released, she was the one who asked to talk to investigators.
Okay.
On the way to her polygraph appointment, this is what led to her breakdown. She had jumped out of her father's moving car and had run to Sheila's house. So she
What?
skipped the polygraph completely and then had a total mental health break.
Oh.
Yep. And it was 6 months to the day after the murder when she confessed everything. She told detectives they had lured Skylar out, drove to Wayne Township, Pennsylvania, walked into the woods. They let her get ahead a little bit walking. They counted to 3, and then they pounced on her and stabbed her in the back and the neck.
Oh my gosh.
And they actually
That's
stabbed her over 50 times, which you don't
that's
know until the end of the
horrible.
documentary. But So Rachel's story is that it was Sheila's idea. Sheila had become increasingly resentful of Skylar and had proposed getting rid of her.
Oh
Rachel
my
said she went along because she was terrified of Skylar exposing their secret relationship. Skylar fought back and managed to stab Rachel above the ankle. Rachel says she stopped. Sheila kept going until Skylar was silent.
my gosh.
Prosecutors were skeptical. So one co-conspirator pointing all of the blame at the other is not enough. They needed more information.
Hmm.
So what they set up is so insane to me. I'm watching this and I'm like, I have so many questions. Like, I can't wait to get your take on this, because even as a parent, I was like, how do they do this? So they decided they wanted to get Sheila to incriminate herself through
Okay.
Rachel recording conversations. So normally you would think she'd just wear a wire. No, they literally set up a camera and they set up like a living, it was in Rachel's like living room. And Rachel's mom, who's a problematic human we'll get to, kind of gives her a hug and a kiss and says, "You're doing the right thing. I love you." And Rachel calls Sheila and says, "You need to come over here. It's serious." And the girls were getting interviewed by police this whole time, on and off. They're in contact with police. And so Sheila comes in and she's like, "What?" And she's like standing in front of the camera and she's like going like this. She doesn't know where the camera is, of course, hidden camera. But she's just like, just bouncing around almost, whatever. And Rachel's acting kind of upset and saying like, "This is really bad. They're asking me all these questions, whatever." And she goes, "Well, you haven't changed the story, right? They don't have anything as long as you don't change the story." And I think she said something like, "They don't think we were involved," or something like that. I mean, just very like,
Yeah.
but not explicit that they had killed her. So they still didn't quite have enough, right? But it was enough to continue looking at Sheila's car. So they end up finding a little bit of blood in the back of Sheila's car, and it tested positive for Skylar's DNA. So then they could move in and they could arrest Sheila
Dang.
and Rachel. Okay. So when they arrest Sheila, Sheila's like, "But I have a hair appointment for prom. Am I going to be out in time for prom?"
Girl, you're not going to prom.
No. So as a parent, so many things.
Oh
Number
my
one,
God.
this chick, Rachel, confesses and is out and hanging out with her friends and doing sleepovers. Like this one poor girl, they're still having sleepovers and stuff. As a parent, I'm in shock. Like that is so scary to me. Isn't that so scary that she could just be out and hanging out with her friends and going
Yeah.
to school?
No, that's insane.
I don't understand it.
It's nuts.
I don't understand it. I like research stuff too. I don't understand it. Mm-mm. So, what are you thinking? Like, is that not nuts?
I mean, it scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, I know. I felt bad a little earlier because I was like, this is going to freak Nat out, especially having a daughter.
Yes.
But this girl just bebopping over to her friend's house, and she told one of her friends, Rachel told one of her friends, that Sheila had killed Skylar, and she had nothing to do with it, but had to go along with it because she was scared or whatever.
They're all dumb.
Uh-huh. But Rachel did the thing, confessed. So from a legal perspective, they dragged these guys in, right? And they didn't go to trial basically because Rachel confessed. She didn't really have to go to trial. She just had sentencing.
Mm-hmm.
And at sentencing, she stood up and addressed the family and had this whole apology. And people said it sounded pretty rehearsed, but she had emotion. There was some emotion happening there.
Mm-hmm.
So she ends up getting sentenced. I'll get into the sentence in a little bit. Sheila, they bring her ass in there, and she is smiling, smirking, no emotion, Nat, really, not looking overly bothered by any of it. I mean, smiled at the father. And this father had defended her. Defended her and defended her over and over again. When the town turned on her and stuff, he really defended her until it was beyond a reasonable doubt that she had done it.
That's wild.
Isn't that just crazy?
I'm gonna have to watch it later.
So because Rachel confessed, Rachel was convicted of second-degree murder, whereas Sheila was convicted of first-degree murder.
Mm-hmm.
And she did plead guilty too. She didn't go to trial. She pled guilty, which actually surprised people. Her defense was like, we can't do anything for her. That's basically what they said.
They're like, girl, you did the thing.
You did the thing. The judge literally looked at him like, can you mount a defense or whatever? And he was like, wait, there's not a defense that would make sense, which you don't see that very often either.
You never see that.
Mm-mm. And they were sentenced as adults, all the things, right?
Dang.
So let's go back for a minute on Sheila, okay?
Okay.
To when she was reviewing the landlord's footage with this girl's parents and her own mother, and they're standing there looking at the footage of her car pulling up and leaving, and the chick doesn't break a sweat. And that was 48 hours after she had stabbed her friend to death.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts?
That's insane.
I mean,
that's terrifying.
What comes to mind from a psychology perspective?
I'm curious about the family.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious about the parents.
Mm-hmm. They don't say much. She's close with her mom, but they don't say much about her family.
We'll be right back.
If you work with court-ordered clients, you already know the system can be overwhelming. Documentation, coordination, compliance tracking, billing, on top of actually doing the therapy. That's why we want to tell you about Reliatrax, a one-stop platform built specifically for therapists working in the court-ordered space and voluntary treatment. Reliatrax helps you stay connected with probation and referral sources so everyone's on the same page and your clients get the best care possible without the endless emails, calls, and paperwork. And here's the exciting part. Reliatrax now offers Aura, their new AI assistant. Aura helps streamline documentation, keeps you organized, and supports your workflow so you can spend less time clicking boxes and more time doing clinical work. Reliatrax also supports insurance billing, including Medicaid, making it easier to serve both court-ordered and voluntary clients all in one system. No juggling platforms and no workarounds. And the other amazing thing is you have an actual team of people who can support you, not some automated system. If you're looking for a smarter, more efficient way to manage compliance, communication, and care, Reliatrax was built for this. Check out Reliatrax and see how it can support you, your clients, and the systems you work in without burning you out. You can go to www.reliatrax.com to get started.
Okay. Yeah, I'm really curious about her family. I'm curious about her upbringing.
Mm.
I mean, from a psychology perspective, signs for psychopathy for sure, with lack of remorse, lack of empathy, lack of emotion,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it makes me curious of like if there's trauma or whatever.
Yeah, and nothing stands out really from the documentary anyway, or the research that I did. Now, what's interesting is, remember she tweeted, "We really did go on 3."
Yes. What did that mean?
They counted to 3 before they attacked Skylar.
She posted, "We really go on 3."
We really went on 3, I think was what she said. Mm-hmm.
That's so fucked up.
No, I know. I know.
Oh my gosh.
We really did go on 3. Uh-huh.
That's so messed up.
The other thing is she knows Rachel's going to see that. So when I think about these two together, we have this like sick dynamic we've talked about before with killer duos, right? So Rachel's family gives us a little more to hold on to. It's worth noting Rachel's mom did not comment on the documentary. I don't blame her. She didn't sound great in the documentary. So
yeah, I wouldn't have said anything either.
no, Rachel was raised super, super, super religious. Super religious. And she's doing the thing where she's writing in the journal, "I'm lustful, I'm bad, I don't do the things that you want me to do. I want to be close to you," like all prayers, right? Like writing stuff out all the time. So Rachel's defense now, when she has parole hearings, which I'll get to, is that she really was in love with Sheila and couldn't be because of her family. So when she went to the church camp and all that kind of stuff, like she had this very strong belief system, and her mother was terrifying. Everyone said that she had a pretty scary mom, and her mom was kind of a legend, like yelled at her at school a couple times. Rachel alluded to it getting physical. The night of Rachel's breakdown, she'd given her mom a black eye, according to the 911 call. So, I mean, they had physically gotten into it a fair bit. And even her journal entries the night after Skylar was killed, very much like, "I just need forgiveness. I need all whatever." So there's something going on there. But it's also convenient when she confesses and all of that. So you have to like hold it kind of loosely. And Skylar was sort of the good girl to those two being a little bit nuts. Like they went real quick, and they were using drugs, and they were doing all this stuff. And Skylar went along with it, and Skylar could party and stuff, but I don't think that Skylar was super pleased with what was happening. And they were just getting intensely close and leaving Skylar out, but it was more than just friends. There was something more going on there. So I dug in a little bit to Rachel's breakdown, because I was like, I want to understand like what might have been working on Rachel to have her freak, or was it strategic?
Right. Which one had red hair? I'm now looking at pictures.
Rachel.
Okay. So the religious one had red hair.
Yeah, the religious one had red hair. So I found a research study that was kind of interesting. And it's from Columbia Business School professor Michael Slepian. And he spent over a decade kind of studying secrets and what happens when people carry secrets. So he found that 97% of US adults are hiding at least one significant fact at any given time.
One
And the average
significant
person,
fact.
facts, yeah, facts.
Okay.
And the average person carries around 13 meaningful secrets, roughly 5 of which they've never told anyone.
Hmm.
And what they found was the damage isn't the fatigue from like lying to keep something a secret or to hide something. It's the social isolation of not being able to fully share yourself or what you're dealing with. And so people who are really secretive have less satisfying relationships, they're less productive, higher risk for anxiety and depression, right? All of that. So one of the things that was kind of a rumor, but also, I mean, they talked about in the documentary, I think there was some evidence of it, was that they had actually asked Skylar, and Skylar journaled about it, to record them having sex, to record Sheila and Rachel having sex. So the load, just the secret and the shame burden among these 3 girls with they have like sex, drugs, sneaking out, all of this stuff, and then they're isolating Skylar. Skylar's pissed because Sheila was her best friend and Rachel just came on in. Rachel's terrified of losing Skylar because she like loves her and is having this relationship over here with Sheila.
Wait. So Rachel was scared to lose Skylar or scared to lose Sheila?
Oh, Sheila, sorry. Rachel was
Sorry,
scared
okay.
to not have Sheila.
Okay.
Yeah, because they were having this relationship. And I think that
Right.
Skylar was really stressed about being left out. Sheila's just kind of managing these 2 idiots, but she and Skylar were fighting. Sheila and Skylar were really fighting, but all 3 of them are very nasty to each other. Like when you and I'm really sad that this happened to Skylar, and I don't want to speak ill of somebody who was killed, but I will tell you this was extraordinarily toxic and nasty all 3 ways. And one of the things that Skylar had posted was in her little vague Twitter way, the things that she could tell. And then she put like hashtag if I could get away with it. So there was a real threat there that Skylar was going to reveal Sheila and Rachel's relationship. And if she did, it was going to be really big. And I do think that Rachel, based on what I saw of the mother and some of that, I do think Rachel would have been probably at a minimum pulled away from Sheila immediately. Like it would have been severed like forever from the parents. Yeah. So I think for Rachel, that was a real threat. Right?
That's wild.
Do you think Rachel ever would have confessed without the breakdown? And do you think the breakdown was genuine? Because there's a part of me that still feels like the breakdown's a little something.
I don't know. Rachel has the religious component. And I think that regardless of like how you feel, I think when you have a religious component, there is like naturally a level of guilt that enters when you've done something really wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I don't know what she believes now, but I think back then, especially probably, she was already doing something wrong according to her faith. And then I think that would be
Say that part again. She'd already done something wrong according to her faith because it cut up.
Yeah. She had already done something wrong according to her faith. And I think almost no one can hold in something like that for so long. Like I don't think Rachel is I don't think she's a sociopath or sociopathic. I think there's more to her than that. She was scared to be outed in her relationship.
Mhm.
She has the religious component, and so I
Mhm.
think her killing her friend was really damaging to her. That's what it sounds like.
That is what it sounds like. I mean, it's certainly what it looked like,
Yeah.
you know. Um, the wild thing when I was talking about how nobody knew, so because they were juveniles, prosecutors were legally bound to keep everything confidential. So
Mm-hmm.
just imagine that Rachel had confessed. She described the count of three, the knives, the location of the body. They find the body. Sheila Eddy is still out there. She's still in the community, still potentially in the homes of other teenagers, as was Rachel, whose parents
Yeah.
have no idea.
That's so
Other
crazy.
kids knew them, other parents trusted them.
Mm-hmm.
How in the world are we not protecting these children and these families because of the juvenile confidentiality?
Mm-hmm.
Like, where's that line, Nat? Because on the one
Yeah.
hand, innocent until proven guilty times 1,000 for juveniles, right? But
Mm-hmm.
also, holy cow.
Like if I found out later that I had any of these girls in my home, I would sue
Well, and what if it was a sexual
somebody.
predator? Like, we're talking about teenage girls, okay?
Right.
But what if this was a teenager, but who was really kind of into sexual predatory behavior, and you're having this
Mm-hmm.
child come spend the night with your younger kids?
Right.
Like, I don't,
Well, here's the thing. We're not doing sleepovers.
what'd you say?
Ever.
We
We're not
what?
doing
Oh,
sleepovers.
I know. I get that.
Ever. Like we're just not.
Mm-mm.
Grace will be able to sleep over with Ava and Kinsley. That's it.
I get that.
You know,
I get it. I
family
totally
only,
get it.
and even then, I will also stay the night.
But isn't that so terrifying?
Yes.
And I can remember, and I will
Crazy.
say, did you ever go to some wild sleepovers? Not the kind of sleepovers where like somebody was gonna die, but the kind of sleepovers where you're like playing pranks and you're up all night and it's just craziness. And it's real
Oh,
young. It's usually younger than high school. By high school, you got stuff to do.
oh, middle
Figure
school,
stuff
we were
out.
sneaking out of houses.
It was crazy though. I remember like freezing people's bras and all the crazy light as a feather, stiff as a board nonsense happened more like middle school.
That's like mild compared to Summit County.
100, well, yeah, I believe that's true. I believe that's true. But it
Summit
was
County,
a
we
little
were
bit
different
chaotic.
level.
And when I
Yeah.
think about this, I'm like, okay, but then if you had some kids in there who were into something really, really bad,
Mm-hmm.
no, it could get pretty scary pretty fast.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So basically, when Rachel pled guilty in May of 2013, that's like 5 months after she confessed, right?
Right.
That's when the case went full adult status and went public. And
Mm.
Sheila wasn't indicted until September of 2013.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And they had to really watch Dave in the court because Dave was like, I'm gonna kill that little witch. Like she's out. I'm done. He was like, bye-bye. And the
I
cops were like,
mean,
man, like they're trying.
honestly though, like, oh, I can't even imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Like game over at that point.
Mm. So what's hard is Rachel. So we gotta talk about this because when Rachel first confessed, when they asked her why, her very first answer was, "I just didn't like her. We just didn't like her." When she
Mm.
went and found the body, first of all, she's just directing them, and then she goes, "It's over there." It. This is
Mhm.
Rachel we're talking about.
Right, right.
It wasn't until Rachel's 2023 parole hearing that she really, really got into the relationship with
Hmm.
Sheila. She had kind of said she was afraid Skylar was going to say, but she didn't really talk as much about the fact that she was gay and
Hmm.
was terrified of being expelled from her family and her church. And
Hmm.
she would have lost the relationship if she had come out.
Hmm.
And so for Dave, that at least was a reason.
Yeah.
Now, he still shows up and like fights her getting released, which I will get to. But
Hmm.
for him, it was like, okay, well, there's at least a motivator that
Hmm.
made
Hmm.
sense. Does that sit with you as a motivator? Like, does knowing the real motive after 11 years change anything for the family? Does it matter even?
I mean, I want to say no, but I mean, I hope I'm never in that position. But it doesn't change much. But I think what it changes is that it's like when I think of teenagers, okay, when you and I don't know how many of the adolescent groups you ran back in our old job.
Mm-hmm.
The one day adolescent groups scared the shit out of me because adolescents are so impulsive and they do not think through things to the degree of the impact. Like they just don't. Right. And so when I ran those adolescent groups, it was like people who held people up at gunpoint at an ATM, or not people, it was teens who held adults up at ATMs at gunpoint to rob them. And so I think of like teenagers and the fear, the religious fear, the shame, and I think like maybe I don't know if it would have helped knowing the motive, but at least it's like, okay, she's not like a total sociopath, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there was a reason in her twisted little teenage brain
Mm-hmm.
that this made the most sense.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Makes total sense. And I also don't think Rachel was the ringleader. I think Sheila was irritated. And Rachel was terrified of losing her person.
Yeah.
That's what I think, you know?
Yeah.
Rachel pled guilty to second-degree murder, like I said. She was sentenced to 30 years, eligible for parole after 10. Sheila pled guilty to first-degree murder. She was given life in prison, but parole eligible after 15 years. Sheila expressed no remorse at sentencing. So she pleads guilty. She gets sentenced immediately because that's how that works. And the judge says they had mercy. The 15 years was considered mercy. And they asked her if she wanted to say anything. And she whispers to her attorney and decides she's going to remain silent and not say anything. Same girl, she's like, rest in peace. I hope you get justice. I miss you every day. All that stuff she was putting on Twitter, even after the friend died. Okay. Can't say a thing.
Well, of course
Can't say a thing.
because everything she said on Twitter was fake.
So here's the kicker. Both women now are in the same prison.
Shut up.
They're at Lakin Correctional Center in West Columbia, West Virginia.
That's so annoying.
I can't believe they'd put them in the same prison. We don't know if they're in the same unit or not. A former inmate, Stormy Wilson, said when Sheila arrived, she immediately blamed Rachel for telling on her. She's still mean girling in the prison. She has since built her own social hierarchy inside a colony of followers and has stacks of fan mail.
This is Sheila?
Sheila. Yeah, Sheila thrives.
Who's her fan mail from? Is it women?
Probably both. I'll bet it's women and men.
But men don't send this. We talked
That's
about
true.
this.
It's probably women.
It's women.
It's probably women. Oh, so Rachel, when asked about Rachel, Wilson said, I don't think she's going to survive anywhere. Now, none of these psychological evaluations have been made public. I looked. The results might be released at some point, but they are like sealed. They were like sealed in the court system. They're very different behaviorally, though. Sheila has this flat affect, emotional detachment, thrill seeking, while Rachel had a pre-confession breakdown. There was this mental health crisis, and she expressed remorse, whether it was rehearsed or not. She still expressed remorse.
Right.
Right. So what's interesting now when I'm thinking about this and the mental health drivers underneath it, Sheila really, the more information I get, the more I'm seeing these psychopathic factors, like you said. But there is a part of this. I wonder if they weren't in a bit of a race to see who would tell first. Because if Rachel doesn't confess, I'm not sure they get found out for a while longer. I still think it would have circled, but they were almost at the point where they might have gotten away with it. If it went cold, Sheila gets a different car. I don't know why it took them so long to search the car inside and out, but
Mhm.
they might have gotten away with it because they were really focused on the boys. They were pretty focused on the boys, and the girls, there was such a bias. Even the FBI, like law enforcement was floored, Nat. They were floored. And I think it's because it's so hard to believe one teenage girl would commit murder, let alone two. And when you think about like
Right.
Slender Man,
No,
one
I
of
know.
them
Yep. Yep.
schizophrenic, right? They're not schizophrenic. That's not what's going on here. Like these girls
Mhm.
were rational, logical. They had a plan for how they were going
Mhm.
to do this, and they did it. And 50 stab wounds is not impulsive. They had
No.
gotten a shovel, they had Clorox wipes, they had all these things. They planned this. So with Rachel, I mentioned a little bit ago that her parole has been denied several times.
Yeah.
First parole hearing 2023, she was caught in a lie. She told the board she wasn't under the influence of marijuana the night of the murder, but they could easily find that. They could easily find that because
Yeah.
when they pressed her on it, she got all janky, and then they had evidence that she was.
Mm.
They had evidence that she was.
Mm-hmm.
She told the board she didn't consider herself a bad person because she made one bad choice. It's not who I am. That's what she said. I'm not a
Mm.
bad person because I made one bad choice. It's not who I am. The Neese family and the board were not moved. And at her second parole hearing, she was also denied in 2024
Mm.
because she needed to remain right up free and secure a home plan before parole could be considered. And so she starts presenting all of her accomplishments: high school diploma, bachelor's degree in communications, culinary arts certificate, cosmetology license, all of these things. But Dave Neese told the board while he was shaking, visibly shaking, she's ruined so many lives. Skylar
Mhm.
doesn't have a chance to graduate. She won't get married, nothing like that. So before her first hearing, an online petition also circulated online, got
Dang.
33,000 signatures, telling the parole board not to release Rachel.
Mm.
And so Rachel waived her 2025 parole hearing entirely.
Dang.
She's like,
'Cause
I'm
she's like,
taking a
I'm
year
not
off.
getting out.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna I'm gonna take a
It's
year
too
off.
hard.
It's too hard. They're just saying no. She's eligible again in 2026.
Mm.
Sheila won't face her own first hearing until 2028.
Okay.
Do you think they'll ever get out?
Rachel might.
Mm-hmm.
Sheila, probably not.
I think it's gonna be really hard for Sheila to get out. Even just the recordings of her in court are so damning. Like the
Yeah.
smirk.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. It's interesting to look at pictures because those girls are women now.
I haven't seen him now. I gotta look up a picture. Hang on.
Oh yeah, no, it's wild. They are like women. I wonder how they feel now about everything.
I'm gonna pull it up. Okay. I'm gonna look at where's the grown-up picture?
Here, I'll send you this link.
I know they are like grown now.
And that was even in 2017.
I know.
So they're even more grown.
Well, it's
That's
very psychopathic. And you and I have worked with a couple of people who prison, not prison, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Sheila acted pretty unbothered the whole time. And even when Rachel was recorded talking to her, she
Mm-hmm.
was just like, I mean, she's literally like swaying in the room, like hanging out, like no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Very weird. But then I don't know. I think it's I hate to say this, but I'm surprised this doesn't happen more often. I mean, I think it's terrible. It is not, it's super uncommon for teenage girls to be violent, period. If men treated each other emotionally like women did, we would see this all the time.
Mm,
That's the truth, because the violence factor alone. But it makes me really sad. A couple things make me sad about this case. I think that Sheila has a lot of markers of psychopathy. I don't know how we intervene with Sheila, to be frank.
mm,
All of it looks so messy to me. The involvement of Skylar, the isolation of Skylar. Rachel seems a little bit more sensitive and vulnerable, just in the sense that I think she was in love with Sheila.
mhm,
And I don't really know how Sheila felt about her. I don't think it was the same.
mhm,
But I do think they had a real something,
mhm,
you know. But with Rachel, the thing that makes me sad is I do think she was struggling with some identity issues, and we missed an opportunity with how strict her family was, and
mhm,
some of that I think she got kind of stuck
mm,
and didn't know how to get out, and her writing is so interesting. Oh my gosh, look at them. Her
I
writing
know.
is so interesting because she really was experiencing some guilt, even just on a spiritual level. Like
Mm,
there was no payoff to how she journaled, particularly before, because she didn't
right,
just journal after. She was
right,
journaling before. She was
right.
struggling. Students heard the girls discussing the murder in science class and said nothing. Skylar's tweets were right there, right there. And
Mm,
so part of Skylar's legacy is they came up with a law and passed a law in
mhm,
2013 called Skylar's Law. And it's basically an immediate Amber Alert for any missing child believed to be in danger, not just if they've been abducted. So even if somebody ran, if we believe they're in danger, then they get an Amber Alert.
mhm,
The Neese family runs Skylar Talks, visiting schools and prisons. Dave Neese launched Skylar's Promise, a commitment for
mhm,
young people to speak up when something feels wrong.
hmm,
So trying to get young people to talk, which is
yeah.
so hard to do. So this is a tough case, man, and I think you never really know what's
Mhm,
going on in the brain of an adolescent.
mhm,
But there were signs here that there were bad things happening.
right.
And social media was newer. They make a big deal out of social media in the documentary. But I mean, I had Facebook in 2002. So the notion that
Right.
social media was brand new, it was not brand new.
No, it wasn't.
I would say that law enforcement and parents didn't understand quite what was going on with it for a while. So that part
Mhm,
is true. But
mhm,
they were already on to Twitter and some other things at this point. So social media had been an issue for a while. What
mhm,
is weird about this case is that they were tweeting at each other,
mhm,
and there was some pretty inflammatory stuff happening, and nobody was saying anything. Nobody was
mm.
saying anything. The "we really did go on three" moment is just terrible.
That's insane.
Isn't that just
That's
wild?
insane.
I mean,
Mhm,
what do you think she goading the investigation? I think she was intimidating Rachel. That's what I think was happening.
mhm,
I think it was a point of connection, but also coercion. To be like, we
hmm.
really did go on three, because they couldn't talk about it very much. When they did, people overheard it.
I think, yeah, it could be. I don't know if I don't, yeah. I feel like there's a point of connection, like, because you think of like girls that age and their brains and how they think.
Hmm.
Like, I think it was probably, like, I would guess rather than like intentional coercion, I think that was like probably subconscious, but
Hmm.
I would guess it was more like, this is a connecting point for us. Like almost like one of those pacts where it's like you take this to your grave.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Which again is such a
And
good, like
and
such a girl thing, like a young
yes,
girl thing.
and only we will know about this forever, you know?
Yeah, that's so true, Nat. I mean, I wouldn't keep a secret for somebody now for nothing. I mean, I'm a therapist, but I
Mm-hmm.
mean, if it was between me and my freedom or me
Mm-hmm.
and my life making sense, like absolutely not. I keep people
Mm-hmm.
secrets for a living. That's heavy enough.
I know.
You know, I don't need it in my personal life, but I think when we're young, there's something like exciting and self-medicating about that it's like, ooh, I have this special thing with somebody,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm. I was talking with
Dang.
a kid the other day because I love working with teens, and Nat and I have had people reach out at times to set up a youth program, which we're talking about doing. But they're so precious and their brains are in such a tender spot, and they are terrifying, like you said, because they're
Mm-hmm.
so unpredictable. But it's so sad when I think about what they're going through. And I love to be there for them. And I have these little therapy babies all over the country now, and I don't see them all the time. Like they're out at college and they come back on their break, and I get to see them and talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to connect with one of my long time clients a while ago, and she was processing a couple of things, and some of them were just of the friend variety, and it's just awful. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you could not pay me enough to go back to some of these dynamics. And I had good friends. I was not put through some of the things you were put through. Oh my God, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's just hard. So I guess if you're an adult listening to this, if you're a teen, and we know you're out there because we hear from you guys sometimes,
Right.
we adore you. Be safe and try to find nice people to be friends with. But if
Yes.
you're a parent, like be in their business, man, the best you can. And if your kid is putting like vague, really emotional messages out there, like you got to figure out what's going on because it might be that big. I think
Yeah.
sometimes we dismiss things, and I think that's what happened here. Is it was like, ugh, girl drama,
Yeah.
whatever. And
Yeah.
it in this case was not just girl drama. There was a lot of going on here that was
Mm-hmm.
terrible,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
really scary. And I
Well,
think
yes.
it's the psychopathy thing too. It's like 1 + 1 = 1,000. Like
Right.
Rachel's vulnerability mixed with Sheila's really intense antisocial nonsense
Mm-hmm.
mixed with Skylar's spitfireness. Like they talk in the documentary, like she didn't take this lying down. She was kind
Right.
of like you got in there and you bossed him at some point. You're like, listen, you're a problem. I'm gonna tell you. I think Skylar stood up for herself. She did.
Mm-hmm.
It really cost her at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So
Yeah.
anyway, that is my case.
Well, thank you. That's a wild case. It does remind me of the Slender Man one. Different psychological issues, but
Yes.
um, yeah, I'm terrified that I have a daughter. So here we are.
Oh, Gray's so tough though. I don't worry about Gray.
Oh,
She's
she'll be
tough and
tough.
smart. So smart.
Yeah. She won't be with, she won't be friends with people like that.
No, of course not. Of course not. And auntie, and she's got all the aunties. So many
I
aunties, and they
know.
all love her. She's gonna be just fine.
And all the cousins. Yep. So, no, thank you for bringing the case. It's wild. I'm gonna have to watch the documentary now.
You gotta don't watch it before bed. I would watch it during the daylight.
That's fair.
Yes. We'll watch it during the daylight. But we'll see y'all next week, as always.
Bye, forensic friends.
I'm Janine.
And I'm Nat.
And as always, thanks for listening and join us next week for more crime, psychology, and heart.